Well, good afternoon, friends, and welcome. I was just thinking one of the sort of lovely things about doing this work on Zoom means that for those of us at the meeting here in New York in the Lucis Trust headquarters, there's a sense of waiting, and now it's the exact time. So, exactly at 3 p.m. we start. So welcome everybody. A reminder that the actual Capricorn full moon will be in Eastern Standard Time for those in the Eastern Time right through the Americas, will be at 5:27 p.m. tomorrow afternoon. So we're really quite a long time in advance, and we're really working in the build up to those energies. And the other thing to let you know is that the new moon meditation will take place on January the 28th. For those of you who can come to the meeting here, I know you'll be very welcome. And for those of you otherwise, it'll be available on Zoom at 6 p.m. And the theme is, it's a really interesting theme to ponder: world goodwill and the divine plan. And I guess it'll be very much also all of our lives and the divine plan, the human being today and the divine plan. So now we turn our attention to the Capricorn full moon. And as we do every month, we'll be working with the outline of letting in the light that begins with an affirmation of group fusion. It's always the start of this meditation outline. And extending the ideas discussed during the new moon meeting last month, we can approach this affirmation in line with the work of firing the world with the spirit of relationship and enlarging the circle of our group identity and our group fusion. So this identity might begin with the group of all who share in the full moon alignment from the perspective of the Alice Bailey teachings. That's like our home group, our home circle. That's really important. Identifying ourselves as one group, one fused, meditating group. But it can also expand to a wider context where this DK-inspired group becomes fused with the world esoteric group, something now so strong in human consciousness. The broad group that includes all the esoteric and occult meditators and deep intuitive thinkers from all philosophical streams that are characterized by a will to love, a will to deepen and broaden that love and to serve humanity during these difficult testing times. Together as a world discipleship community in all its diversity of cultures, traditions, rituals, and teachings, we can imagine ourselves today as part of one group, standing with humanity, while also standing at the same time before the hierarchy of great ones, of masters, ancestors, and illumined beings. And so it is that right now, as one group of esoteric servers, we can begin to prepare ourselves to enter into the monthly ritual of a group approach to hierarchy, a group approach to this great kingdom of light and wisdom. The alignment between the earth and the sun that occurs every full moon provides the energetic environment that's perfectly suited to the invoking of the powerful, lighted, loving energies of the divine in service of human development. So let us think of the one discipleship group of world thinkers and servers as if they are standing together on behalf of humanity before hierarchy. Imagining ourselves as part of this group, and together recognizing or sensing the ideas and ideals of the universal consciousness of Aquarius and the expanded spirit of relationship that's already taking shape in the world of the human. Imagine that each member of the group, each one of us, our own little private world, is engaged in some way or other in the work of bringing these ideas and ideals into expression in the world. Willfully working to express, manifest, anchor universal values, principles, and ideas in the modern world. And now, as we're working in the sign of Capricorn, we can imagine this group, all of us as one group, standing on a mountaintop, breathing in that air of the mountaintop, breathing quietly together as if we were one unified being. And then, as if prompted by some inner call, lifting our gaze as a group to an almost unbelievable depth and beauty of radiant living light supernal, shining down on us from the starry worlds above and within. There's a mantra known as the affirmation of the disciple, which is said to embody the attitude of the group of all united, unified, poised, focused disciples in the world, striving in cooperative effort with others to link hierarchical intent with human aspiration, and thus bring humanity nearer to its goal. Visualizing humanity taking a step, another step forward. So let's use that mantra now, the affirmation of the disciple, together. I am a point of light within a greater light. I am a strand of loving energy within the stream of love divine. I am a point of sacrificial fire, focused within the fiery will of God, and thus I stand. I am a way by which men may achieve. I am a source of strength, enabling them to stand. I am a beam of light, shining upon their way, and thus I stand. And standing thus revolve, and tread this way the ways of men, and know the ways of God. And thus I stand. Today we're guided in our work by the light that flows from the constellation Capricorn as it streams into the planet and into the very life of the planetary logos, irradiating the planetary head center, Shambhala, and fusing with the light of the planetary heart so that it can reach into all the 49 ashrams of Kohans and Masters, and then flow out into the new group of world servers where its tinctures gently expand their influence in the higher worlds of human thought and creativity, while at the same time stimulating a growing crystallization and unwieldy brittleness in instinctive inherited forces of separation. These two things happening together. The energies flowing from the constellation through Shambhala and hierarchy into humanity reach their peak during each full moon period, stimulating the forces of light within humanity as well as the forces of materialism and separation. And all of this is a part of the shaping and organizing of moments of tension and crisis in human affairs, as the light and the dark within us, the two sides of our nature, the two sides, parts of being in incarnation, enter into a more conscious and existential relationship. the angel of the presence and the dweller on the threshold, are in process of becoming conscious of each other. This consciousness or relationship is building as the new group, with the esoteric workers of all traditions at its heart, deepens its response to the light of the angel and works to fix that light into a rich diversity of seeds of human thought, culture, structure, organization, and community. The dweller challenges this work of the angel, testing the new group, rising in opposition, forcing the group to develop the needed qualities of purpose, inclusiveness, quiet courage, persistence, faith in the good, the beautiful, and the true, all essentially requiring a spirit of service to that which is greater, and a sort of humility that comes as a result of having been given a glimpse of a realm of wisdom and a solidity of goodness that is so much greater than any one of us. And through all of this, the distinctive light of the Capricorn full moon shines, drawing our attention to the mysterious role of initiation with its image of the mountaintop. And this in an earth sign that finds a lower expression in separative and materialistic ambition, leading to a crystallization of old and outmoded forms. Capricorn is worldly and otherworldly both at the same time. It speaks to us in whispers about the mystery of the crocodile and inspires us with reflections on the most earthy of all creatures, the mountain goat, alongside with that most fantastical, airy creature of mythology, the unicorn. All these together. We're still in the early phases of the new year, and for many of us, our thoughts about the coming year and about the role of Capricorn and the birthing of the new will be at least partly conditioned by the recognition that a significant centennial conclave is due to take place in the hierarchy this year, whatever this year means in the hierarchy's calendar. What that event might mean for humanity is inevitably something, in fact, very much of a mystery for us. In a sense, it's not our business. It is a conclave for hierarchy held within the privacy and ring pass not of that kingdom of wisdom that lies beyond our reach. Yet that conclave will be preoccupied with the hierarchy's view of humanity and of humanity's response to the incoming Aquarian influences. The very thought of a major event like this happening in the plane of the superconscious, the realm of wisdom, once in a century conclave, behind closed doors, will inevitably condition the posture we take as we approach hierarchy and stand with humanity on this Capricorn full moon. For the one thing that we do know is that the hierarchical gathering will lead to, over time, to a vivification of values, principles, orientations, and purposes in the worlds of the human mind and heart, particularly so amongst the multitude of disciples and aspirants from all philosophies and professions, all cultures and all parts of the world. The Tibetan writes that during the 100 years preceding a centennial conclave, masters participate in conclaves every 7 years, when each master who's treading a path of earth service reviews the work in the world being undertaken by his ashram in service of the evolutionary progress of all the kingdoms of nature. In preparation for these 7-year conclaves, the master must make basic decisions within his ashram, affecting world work and involving all within the ashram every 7 years. The centennial conclave, this 2025 conclave, what happens is that all the lessons learned from these regular conclaves during the past 100 years are gathered and reviewed. The wisdom gained amongst the discipleship group in each ashram, seen clearly. The quality of will evoked from the world workers in each ashram, and the creativity and intelligence with which ashramic programs are being applied. At this centennial conclave, we're told in the Raising the Initiations, page 393, that the entire hierarchy decides what form of crisis, on what level of consciousness, and involving what group of lives must be implemented and presented to humanity through though the other kingdoms of nature will be necessarily implicated. The reason for this is that the meeting of such a planned crisis will hasten in humanity certain realizations. Forget not that humanity grows through the presentation of moments of crisis. These moments of crisis, based on past karma, conditioned by the point in evolution already achieved, and on the presence in the three worlds of certain appropriate ray forces, are brought to the point of precipitation by united decision in the conclave of the masters. And the following paragraph in this section from the Raising Initiations reminds readers that while the moments of crisis are presented to humanity by hierarchy, humanity is left entirely free in its response to the crisis. And this, in a sense, is the test. The Capricornian test to assess human readiness to take an initiatory step onto the discipleship path. Is humanity ready to reorient itself to the growing realization of oneness and the impact this realization is having as it impacts all the spheres of human activity and thought? Imagine what this orientation might mean for the ways in which religions and philosophies are experienced and approached, for all different levels of consciousness, even to the way in which law is practiced in different cultures, as a shared sense of what's right and good, and as an expression of the true conscience as it exists in any time. Once a crisis of significant proportion has been presented to the people of the world following the centennial conclave, as we can imagine the crisis of the Second World War was after the 2025 conclave, after the 1925 conclave, once a crisis of significant proportion has been presented to the people of the world following the conclave, the hierarchy, we are told, turns its attention to other things, leaving humanity entirely free to come to its decision and its response. But once humanity has begun to take action of some kind in response to the crisis, then the full attention of the masters, working through their ashrams, is committed to the giving of full assistance to all those who are seeking to guide humanity along correct lines. We can remind ourselves that this is a way of thinking about the 100-year period that will follow this 2025 conclave, a period taking us through to 2125. So 2025 is the year for hierarchical decision, and the events in humanity will unfold in this long period of 100 years. And we should also note a reference in another book, The Externalization of the Hierarchy, which states that during the 2025 conclave, the date in all probability will be set for the first stage of the externalization of the hierarchy. The present cycle from now, and this was written in January 1946, until that date, is called technically the stage of the forerunner. And that date is the first stage of the externalization. So from January 1946 until the beginning of the first stage of the externalization, The stage we're in now is technically called the stage of the forerunner, and it's preparatory in nature, testing in its methods, and intended to be revelatory in its techniques and results. The Capricorn keynote for the disciple, which is the theme for our meditation, is lost am I in light supernal, yet on that light I turn my back. In some ways, in many ways, this can seem like a total contradiction. How would it be possible for the initiate to turn away from an all-consuming vision of the light supernal that marks the summit of all the disciples' aspiration and vision, perhaps for several lifetimes, leading up to this climaxing moment? How on earth would one even want to turn your back on it? Some insight comes from the idea that the mountaintop marks a completion. There's no further that the disciple can go in his or her spiritual alignment. The highest point of achievement has been reached. So the question is, what next? And it's not really an option for a mountaineer to simply stay on the mountaintop, even though its altitude offers magnificent views and gives an almost transcendent perspective on the world that stretches out. It's a desolate environment, bitterly cold, and nowadays often requires the support of bottled oxygen. Very few people have been able to climb Mount Everest without oxygen. Some have. The disciple as mountaineer, in other words, the inner mountain, has no choice but to turn their back on all the beauty and all the sense of triumph and face the challenging task of walking down to the mountain. There's simply no choice. And this is because a central part of reaching that mountaintop is the growth of love. We need to remember that Capricorn rules the knees. So while we may think that in order to be granted a vision of the light supernal, the disciple needs to stand upright, strong, flexible, while remaining well-rooted on the ground, drawing on the image of the mountain goat, incredible ability to climb those impossible heights. The deeper message suggests that it's only through kneeling that the vision can be seen. It's only when the personal self, with its such strong identity, its character, and even with its growing insight and wisdom, can bow down and kneel before something that's so much greater and alive than anything previously known. It's only then the disciple can truly speak of an encounter with the higher worlds that's powerful enough and that actually is an encounter that can transform the substance, the matter of all the vehicles of the personality. And so that soul and personality are finally fused and one. And so it is that the transformed, transfigured self, that the initiate rises, and so it is, and so it is that as the transformed, transfigured self, the initiate rises from the kneeling position of supplicant to stand upright on the summit, and then with an entirely new sense of sovereignty, turn to face the field of service. It's interesting how the keynote for our full moon work echoes this rather profound and touching thought. Capricorn reminds us about something that's central and essential to our ever-deepening group practice of the full moon meditation, with its approach to hierarchy and its figurative turning on the pedestal of light. There's much field for reflection and contemplation in this idea of a group of meditators who feel the urge to pass on the lighted way to the great center of absorption, but choose instead to revolve upon the pedestal of light because of their love for their brother, apparently on the darkened path. And so let's now begin the meditation with this keynote for the full moon work, the full moon approach to the hierarchy in full, before entering into the affirmation of group fusion. He who faces the light and stands within its radiance is blinded to the issues of the world of men. He passes on the lighted way to the great center of absorption. But he who feels the urge to pass that way, yet loves his brother on the darkened path, revolves upon the pedestal of light and turns the other way. He faces towards the dark, and then the 7 points of light within himself transmit the outward streaming light. And lo, the face of those upon the darkened way receives that light. For them, the way is not so dark. Behind the warriors, twixt the light and dark, blazes the light of hierarchy. Group fusion. We affirm the fact of group fusion and integration within the heart center of the group of world servants, mediating between hierarchy and humanity. I am one with my group brothers, and all that I have is theirs. May the love which is in my soul pour forth to them. May the strength which is in me lift and aid them. May the thoughts which my soul creates reach and encourage them. Alignment. We project a line of lighted energy towards the spiritual hierarchy of the planet, the planetary heart, the great ashram of Sanat Kumara, and towards the Christ at the heart of hierarchy. We extend that line of light towards Shambhala, the center where the will of God is known. Fire interlude. Hold the contemplative mind open to the extraplanetary energy streaming into Shambhala and radiated through hierarchy. Imaginatively endeavor to see the three planetary centers, Shambhala, hierarchy, humanity, gradually coming into alignment and interplay. Meditation. Reflect on the seed thought, the keynote for Capricorn. Lost am I in light supremely, yet on that light I turn my back. Precipitation. Visualize energies of light, love, and the will to good pouring throughout the planet and becoming anchored on Earth in prepared physical plane centers through which the plan can manifest. Use the sixfold progression of divine love as the sequence of energy precipitation, flowing from Shambhala through hierarchy, the Christ, the group of world servers, people of goodwill everywhere in the world, physical centers of distribution. Lower interlude. We focus the consciousness as a group within the periphery of the great ashram. And together, in the center of all love, I stand. From that center, I, the soul, will outward move. From that center, I, the one who serves, will work. May the love of the divine self be shed abroad in my heart, through my group, and throughout the world. Visualize the downpouring spiritual inflow released from Shambhala through hierarchy, streaming into humanity through the prepared channel. And consider how these inpouring energies are establishing the pathway of light for the coming world teacher, the Christ. distribution. As the great invocation is sounded, visualize the outpouring of light and love and power from the spiritual hierarchy through the 5 planetary inlets: London, Darjeeling, New York, Geneva, Tokyo, irradiating the consciousness of the whole human race. From the point of light within the mind of God, let light stream forth into the minds of men. Let light descend on earth. From the point of love within the heart of God, let love stream forth into the hearts of men. May Christ return to earth. From the center, where the will of God is known, let purpose guide the little wills of men, the purpose which the masters know and serve. From the center, which we call the race of men, let the plan of love and light work out, and may it seal the door where evil dwells. Let light and love and power restore the plan on earth.